Okay. So this one is titled Possible Podcast Question / Discussion. Hi, Chris and Peach. I am a 23-year-old woman working full-time and currently going to cosmetology school. Oh, excuse me. My parents got divorced when I was 9 or 10 years old, so I grew up seeing my mom grind hard as hell to provide for me and my brother. So I never really knew anything different. I also never saw my mom. My fiance is 25 years old, working full-time as well. We have been together for about 2 years, but we have known each other and have been best friends since around 2015, and we are planning our wedding. We both have to work full-time due to being young and trying to make ends meet. To put this into perspective, our apartment right now is costing about $915 a month, not including all the other bills we have acquired to go along with our lives. We can only afford one car at the moment because my car payment is almost $450.
Just thinking.
Okay, so they're both working full time. Now I'm just curious about all the finances because that's $1,065 a month. And of course, other living expenses, car insurance, phone bills, whatever. So now I'm just curious about other funds and how much is being allocated. Are they door dashing?
Yeah, there's a lot of questions to be had there because it's not a lot of money.
Yeah. Especially if they're both working full time.
Right. Well, it depends on what they're doing too.
Yeah.
You know, working minimum wage is minimum wage, and that depends on what minimum wage is in the state. But a $900 a month rent, like I haven't seen that in fucking 15 years.
Yeah.
You know, you can't even get a studio where we live for less than $2,000 a month.
Mm-hmm. All right. I tend to be really tired because I'm constantly moving and doing something. My schedule usually goes like this. 4:30 a.m. wake up and get dressed for the day and take the dog out. 5:30 a.m. leave the house to get my fiance to work. 6 a.m. take myself to work and have about 45 minutes to take a short nap. 7 a.m. to 3:30 p.m. work my shift. 3:30 p.m. I go and pick my fiance up from his job. 4 p.m. I get home, change for class. 4:45 get to class early to set up station. 5 to 10 cosmetology class. 10 to 11:30 dinner, decompression, getting into bed. And then 12:30 to 1 a.m. about the time I actually get to sleep. My days off of work are Wednesday and Saturday. Though I have Wednesdays off of work, I still have school and doctor's appointments, and Saturdays are usually my running errands day meant for picking up groceries and doing laundry and taking our dog to the dog park and spending time with her since I'm not around often. I'm hoping that eventually I will either be able to open my own salon or run a salon from my home.
How do you think that's going to happen if you're not making enough money to even survive right now? Huh?
Cameras.
I'm not turning it back on. It was just that was my question.
Okay, what was it?
Well, no, I have to. How do you expect to do that if you can't even afford to live right now? That's the I wish mentality. And I'm not shitting on this person, but if you don't start doing things to change your circumstances now, you will never open a business. It costs money to open a business. Mm-hmm. It's not cheap. And sometimes, I mean, doing hair from her home, if she's licensed to do that, or not licensed, I don't know. You still have to buy chairs and you have to buy equipment. And if you're doing hair and like doing colors and shit, product's fucking expensive. It takes money to make money. Mm-hmm. So if you're living paycheck to paycheck and you guys are struggling financially right now, both working full-time jobs, somebody's going to have to pick up a third job or a second job. So there's 3 incomes coming in instead of 2 in order to make this dream a reality. Or you're going to have to find a higher paying job, work for a little while, and do the thing. Now, if she's going to school to be a cosmetologist, doing hair and makeup, and gets a job in a studio, her income's going to go up anyways.
Yeah.
And then she can start saving, and while she's doing that, slowly buy the things that she needs over time while she's learning her craft. It's a whole different discussion. But I felt the need to say that because I get very caught up in the whole one day I wanna. Well, what are you doing?
Right. What are
to
the
get to
steps?
that point? Right. Are you just wishing it's going to happen? Because wishing's not going to get shit done.
Yeah.
In the event that this thing drops again, guys, I will not be making it live again. In the event that this thing drops again, I'm just going to turn off the live stream and we're going to finish the episode and I'll post it later. All right.
All right, continuing on. I have listened to episode 39 of the podcast twice so far. I am working on my second listen through the entire podcast.
Oh, yeah.
Are you serious? Like,
What?
that's not an over-exaggeration.
What?
Second listen through of the entire podcast.
Yeah, we have quite a few people who have gone that are on their third and fourth time.
That blows my mind. Like, I do that to other...
Yeah.
Like, there's what is his account? He reads creepy stories. And that's all he does. And I've listened through every single one. He hasn't posted in like 3 years. And it's just crazy that people do that with our content. I never thought that I would ever be a person of mass significance.
So again, for those who've been here the entire time, I had a conversation with Sean today about the podcast and what we're doing. Mm-hmm. And we talked about Vegas. We talked about the airports. We talked about people knowing us and like the recognition and the fame of all of it. And it's not that we're famous that people get emotional over and the way that they act. It's because I believe this is the conversation that we had today. I don't think that it's because we're famous. Mm-hmm. I think it's because we're actually giving people things that are changing their lives and it's meaningful.
Yeah.
And that conversation came up because we were talking about Mr. Beast, the Beast Burger guy or whatever he is, the most famous YouTuber ever. I've never watched a single one of his videos.
Yeah, but you know who he is.
Yeah, but I didn't know what he looked like until yesterday.
Wow.
I've never seen him. I don't give a shit about any of that. Like, but something came up where they were talking about him building homes for people in another country or whatever. And it piqued my interest and I wanted to see what it was. So I got to know what he looked like. But there are people out there who have channels that I very much enjoy their content. For example, there's a photographer in the UK named Sean Tucker, Seantucker, Sean Tucker on YouTube. I think he's got less than 1 million followers. But if I ever saw him in public, I would stop and speak to him. Like I would want to have a conversation because he's a philosopher. Mm-hmm. And he was a clergyman at one point that does
That's
photography
crazy.
videos. You'll know who he is. If I pulled up one of his videos,
Yeah, I
you'd be
would
like, I know
know.
exactly what you're talking about.
Yeah.
I fucking love his content because his content has impacted my life. I don't view him as famous. I view the work that he puts out as something that I have benefited from, and I would want to thank him for that. So now that I have that perspective, when people stop us, it's not a place of fame anymore. I mean, it could be for some people because people do think that we're famous, but I think that I'm going to approach this from we are adding value to people's lives and they just want to
That's how I view it, yeah.
be appreciative of it. It's made me uncomfortable here and there.
Yeah.
I love being stopped.
Right.
But when people start crying and get super weird emotional, I don't get it. I
Yeah.
understand now that it's not from a famous thing. It's from you've provided value. This is amazing kind of thing. So
Yeah.
just an epiphany. I don't remember even why I brought that up. It's irrelevant.
Well, I'm glad you shared it. Continuing on?
Yes.
Oh, right. I am working on my second listen through of the entire podcast on being in your masculine and feminine. And I feel like it hit me harder the second time listening to it. It made me question how can one truly be in her feminine energy, but still be able to get out there and grind for what I want and what I need. Because I hate feeling like I can't just let go of the anger or the stress of my day. Okay, I'm going to read that again. I hate feeling like I can't just let go of the anger or the stress of my day. Do you ever feel like that?
No,
Have you felt like that?
I have felt like that, but that's a choice.
Right. Okay.
This is one of those things that life doesn't happen to you. Life happens.
Right.
And what you assign to your life is the outcome of it. I don't believe that life is happening to me. That takes away all of my free will. It takes away my ability to interact with the environment around me. If I'm having a bad day, I'm having a bad day. My boss is an asshole. My boss is an asshole today. Like, maybe he didn't get laid last night. Fuck that guy, right?
Yeah.
Like, it is what it is. I'm not going to dwell on it. I'm not going to hold on to it. I'm going to process my shit and continue doing what I'm trying to do because I'm trying to do something. So that whole, the world is out to get me. I'm mad at everyone. Pity me. Like, I can't fuck with that mentality.
Right.
So
I agree.
being angry at the world is a superpower if you allow it to be a superpower. Let that chip on your shoulder be the thing that motivates you to get shit done. That shit, anger, Henry Rollins said, anger has always been my tool to get shit done. I am that guy. I will use my rage to fucking prove everyone a point. Like, it's worked. It's worked very well for me.
Yeah.
I don't want to be angry anymore. I think that there are better ways to get things done through discipline and understanding. But I still revert to that because I'm still very angry inside. So watch me.
I like watching you.
Hey, watch me. Watch me.
You want to hear something crazy? So, in raising children and giving them the tools to be functioning human beings, I am noticing my anger dissipate because anger is a mask. And I'm angry is slowly exiting my vocabulary because I'm not angry. I am frustrated. I am overwhelmed. You are overstimulating me. That noise you're making is annoying to my ear. Please stop it.
Yep.
And in teaching them how to label their emotions, it's teaching me to label my own. So if you don't have children and you have pets or a partner who you've been at odds with for a while now, I'd start labeling your emotions out loud. And when they hit you with, what are you doing? Why are you doing that? I don't like how I'm feeling, and I want to figure out why I'm feeling the way I'm feeling, and this helps me.
I believe that we use our anger as an excuse to behave certain ways. Mm-hmm. Well, I did that because I was mad.
It made me mad.
No, you already wanted to act that way, and you used your anger as an excuse to behave that in that manner. Mm-hmm. It was a choice. You already wanted to yell. You already wanted to like belittle somebody and make them feel inferior. So you allowed yourself to get angry so that you could use that as an excuse to do that. Right? People that work in a customer service industry are there to help you.
Yep.
For the most part, that's what they're trying to do. And if something doesn't go your way and you choose to act up, it's because you already believe that you're superior to them because of the job that they're working versus what you do for a living.
Yeah.
The rich woman that pulls into Starbucks in a BMW that wants to talk shit to the barista who's fucking 19 years old working her first ever job, who's just trying to make enough money to pay her cell phone bill, still probably lives at her home with her parents and has no real idea what life is, but you didn't put non-fat fucking creamer in her drink and you want to be a see you next Tuesday over it. You already have that superiority complex walking into Starbucks. You're making a choice to get angry because somebody made a mistake so that you have the right to belittle somebody and treat them poorly. Yeah. I believe that. 1 Corinthians chapter 13:11 says, when I was a child, I spoke as a child, thought as a child, and understood as a child. But when I became a man, I put away childish things. I believe that. When you are willing to put away that childish nonsense and understand that everybody around you is just trying to do the best they can, that anger changes. And anger is a tool. You use your anger to get shit done. It's a mask because you don't know how to process your emotions. There's a whole lot to that. But at the end of the day, all of that is a choice. Mm-hmm. You can choose to be that person or you can choose to be better. I believe that. So
I agree.
I think that people that use their anger to be holier than thou towards other people are disgusting.
Oh, I agree.
Yep.
I look down on those people. I will admit that.
Yeah. And to be clear, there's a difference between being petty.
Yes.
And being superior. Yeah.
Okay, continuing on.
Yep.
Okay. I tend to be snippy by the time I get home for the night because of exhaustion or just a pure fact that I'm tired. I don't mean to be, and I always apologize for being that way once I've decompressed and had a few minutes to not be so overstimulated. Is it even possible to change something in my life to be able to not always be in my masculine because of having to grind for the things I'm striving for right now?
You think that having a job makes you masculine? It's called being an adult. You having a job doesn't make you masculine. Having to work to survive makes you an adult.
No, she means grinding. Like she's going to work. She's doing cosmetology school.
Right. She's trying to build a future for herself. It's called being an adult. You're surviving. It doesn't make you masculine until you find somebody that can actually put you in your feminine and allow you to not grind, as she put it. You have to do that to live. We have to work.
Right.
Nobody's going to take care of you until you've earned the right to be taken care of. And that comes from finding, in her case, a man who's going to be willing to step in and do those things, that is financially capable. But while he's grinding right now and doing the same thing, is that him in his masculine, or is that him trying to set up his life for his future? Like that's I don't think that's a masculine thing. That whole independent, strong independent shit. You're an adult.
Right.
You have to be an adult. I don't understand why this is being equated to masculine or feminine. If you don't have somebody that you can teammate with that allows you to live in those gender roles,
right,
you have to do what you have to do to survive. Right. It's living.
So you're saying there's a difference between what she wants to talk about versus what she's actually talking about.
I do.
Okay. I want to make sure that I was following. A lot to keep up with.
You can be super feminine and fucking hustle.
Yeah.
It doesn't make you masculine.
Right.
You're trying to, I mean, there's a lot of fucking women out there who are super fucking feminine that are doing the life thing. What does that say about society? Oh man, we got so much hate for that feminine masculine conversation. But what does it say about society where having a job and building your future makes you a man?
Repeat that.
What does it say about our society where hustling and trying to build a future for yourself makes you a man? Because it's masculine. You're in your masculine. You're doing man shit because you're going to school to get into a career field that is feminine, right?
Right. When you boil it down to that, right? Minus the grind because she said she's grinding.
Right. Well, she's going to school and working a job because she doesn't have a man to support her or anyone to support her for that matter. It could be a parent, a grandparent, whoever.
Right.
That makes you independent. In that aspect, I understand that you are doing it on your own, but that doesn't make you masculine.
Yeah. Independence doesn't have a gender.
Right. Makes you an adult.
Right.
I put away childish things.
Yeah.
I just don't like that.
I think I've stayed pretty feminine through the growth of what we've had.
Yeah. Well, you were feminine when you were working.
Yeah.
And being a single mom with 2 kids.
Yeah. I feel like I'm more feminine now, though.
Right. Because you have a teammate.
Yeah.
It's allowed you to do that. It's the beauty of a marriage and
Yes.
a union.
It's nice to have the support.
Here's another thought.
Okay.
We got that email. We actually read it not too long ago where that woman was super upset that I said femininity was weakness. Do you remember that? We just did this
Yeah.
like a week ago. And I was like, that's not at all what I was saying. That's the way that society views femininity because they look at masculine as strong. And if femininity is the opposite of masculine, of course, that's the opposite, right? And like people got super butthurt over me saying that, but it was just a conversation. I've had another thought since all of then. Since we did that. And that thought is, if it's not viewed as weakness, then why do women say I am a strong, independent woman instead of just saying I'm an adult or I'm an independent woman? Why is the word strong in there if femininity is not viewed as weakness to a degree?
Or women viewed as weak.
Women do, right?
Yeah.
They just don't want to admit that because this woman could be in her feminine, doing the boss thing, hustling to make a future for herself, and could still very much be in her divine feminine the entire time. Now, when she finds a man who's masculine that can match that divine energy and allows her to back off and like can help her run her business, or she hires people and can do the stay-at-home thing if that's what makes her happy, it's a choice.
Yep.
I don't think that working is a masculine thing. I think it's a necessity.
I agree.
And as long as the government continues to print money like it doesn't fucking exist, just by pushing buttons because they're not even really printing it anymore, it's going to get worse.
Yeah.
So $34 trillion in debt. We pay more than $700 billion a year in taxes of our tax money back to the Federal Reserve on top of the money that we make. We do not even make enough money in a year to cover the debt that we have while we're still printing money and doing more. So as the value of the dollar goes down and everything continues to get more and more expensive,
Yeah.
this is just going to continue. So,
That's terrifying.
yep. Stupidity is what it is. Yep.
Okay, my thought came back. So she recognizes she gets home, she's in a bad mood, and she's snippy. And then she apologizes for it afterwards. I tell the kids once a pattern of behavior is established, I'm sorry is not enough.
Oh, absolutely. I fucking agree. I
Yeah.
need to see change.
Right. I would look into emotional regulation videos on YouTube. If you're a reader, we have some on the recommended reading list.
Got a lot of it.
A lot of it. Perfect. Emotional regulation would be my advice. And then it ends with, is it even possible to change something in my life to be able to not always be in my masculine because of having to grind for things I'm striving for right now? We answered, I also want to say thank you for all of your wisdom and advice. I really look up to the both of you. Thank you for that.
I respect the grind, as she put it. I call it the hustle.
I agree with hustle.
I think I'm the hustle culture guy.
Yeah.
I know that that's frowned upon now, and like the internet is saying you shouldn't do that and you shouldn't go above and beyond and do all the extra work because you're not going to ever get anywhere and blah 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 blah. That mentality will ensure that you never get anywhere. You're going to school, you're learning a trade. This girl is going to school, learning a trade, and working a job right now. When she masters her craft and is licensed and can go get a job in a barbershop or a hair salon and starts doing color and makeup and can start landing weddings and doing things like that, like she could build a fucking empire for herself.
Yeah.
I know a lot of hairdressers, a lot, because the barbershop next to the tattoo studio has hairdressers there. And I'm very close to the owner of the barbershop. And every time we go out to dinner, he always tells me how much the girls are making there because, you know, women will spend $600 on their hair. And though the color is expensive and he's got to pay out, he's making a huge fucking cut. Like there's a lot of money to be made in that. Women's appearance is important to them. I have heard women say, like, I've cut out Starbucks and all my extra eating, and I only eat what's left over from the night before so that I can afford to get my hair and nails done every month. Like,
Yeah.
people will do what's important to them. And if your outward appearance is important to you, you're going to spend the fucking money on it. So like her doing what she's doing right now is gangster as fuck. And it's going to ensure that she is able to live a good life. Now, if she finds a man who has that same drive, it's fucking game over.
Yeah.
Because if she's making $150,000 a year and meets a man who has that same work ethic and she has the business knowledge, she could step back and be the behind the scenes paperwork person that makes all of that run, and he could run the businesses and fucking, they could $500,000 a year easy. Mm-hmm. It just comes down to the work ethic and having that mindset of being able to do it. I don't know. You know, we still work. You're not a stay-at-home anymore. As much as I like to believe you are, because you do get a lot of free time, you are working. We still have traditional gender roles and we're doing a thing, but like, we push each other. You motivate me. Like I wouldn't be doing this shit if it wasn't for us. Like, I don't think that it makes you masculine. When you were doing your soap line and you were creating your own products, like there was nothing masculine about that.
Yeah.
I didn't view you as, oh, look at this blue. I'm gonna start calling my wife names like we're on a fucking job site. Like
Start spitting right.
yeah, that's I don't like that. I really don't like that mentality, and I think that that's learned, and I believe it can be unlearned.
I agree. I think a reminder is needed of this isn't going to last forever either. Cosmetology school is going to end one way or another. You're either going to graduate or you're going to drop out.
Yep.
But either way, that's not going to take up a lot of your time. This job is not going to be the job for the rest of your life. Unless you decide it to be. Oh my gosh. There was a job I had once where I had to be up at 4 a.m. Had to be, I got to the point to where I was waking up 4 minutes before I had to walk out of the door to go to work, to be at my first stop on time. I was so exhausted, and I was up at 4 a.m., I think, to drive 45 minutes.
Yeah.
I was ready in 4 minutes to get out the door. I hated my life. I was so depressed. Cried every day on my way to work. There was one time I had a mental breakdown in the car. I was sitting in a Publix parking lot. I can look back and laugh on it now, but in the moment I was ready to unalive myself. I was looking at the sunrise. I had already been up for 3 hours. It was during the holidays. And I was on the phone sobbing about how I hated my job, I hated my life, and I was never going to go anywhere. And now here I am. And in that moment, it felt like time was taking forever. And looking back, that was years ago.
Right, but if you would have just accepted that was your life.
Right.
And made excuses and never tried to do anything more and just went with the current, you wouldn't have the life you have now.
Right.
Right? You have to make a decision to do more. And that chick's doing it. Like, you suffer now so you don't have to do it when you're older.
Yeah.
It's not masculine.
It's life.
It's discipline. It's responsibility. Yeah. Let's do another one.